I think we'll
I
get
have a
better
really serious
quality
question
video.
though. How's my top not look? How do you guys look? Huh?
It doesn't look great.
It's only my opinion. Coffee milk.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Coffee Milk. My name is Cleon. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have Jacob and Bianca here this week. They are the host of the show. I guess so am I. I'm the host and they're the host. We're all hosts. It's a collective in this whole thing right here.
A thruple.
Yeah, that's right. A thruple. Every week we just thruple. Can we use it as a verb? Can thruple be used as a verb?
Oh, you can use it as a
Can
verb.
you thruple someone?
Whatever you would like.
You can thruple two people actually, up to two people.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Well, we are a thruple. We're gonna have another hopefully fun show for you guys this week. How is your week going, guys? How's life? How's the week treating you? Other than, you know, the clear obvious, some of our situations.
Yes, my
Other
has changed drastically, and I'm a little shook, but I'm here, and that's the best I can give you.
I appreciate that. I truly do. And we have Jake. Jake, how are you doing this week?
Comparatively well. I'm doing good. Can't complain. Yeah, loving life. About to go up to New Hampshire.
Hampshire, nice. Cool.
New Hampshire.
This is probably around the best time to go to New Hampshire.
Yeah, check out the leaves, the foliage.
Yeah.
A
Are you
lot of
gonna be there?
cedar, though.
Wait, are you gonna be there that long, or are the leaves changing already?
I have no idea. I'm talking out of my ass. I assumed it was already snowing up there, but I don't. Yeah.
So you're just being you, is what you're saying. Good.
Yeah, I'm just talking without reference again. So.
Well, it's good to hear that you're at least going on adventures. I wanna be like you in my next life, Jake. I wanna go on random adventures and be carefree. If only we could all be as carefree as Jake.
How about you, Clan? How are you?
Fuck. Dealing, maintaining, you know what I mean? Experiencing, trying to be calm in moments of unsurety. I don't know. It's an intense week, but that's life right now for everybody. Everybody is dealing with intensity, and sort of, I guess, speaking of intensity, I'm sure all of you guys have heard about Chadwick passing, and that was a very hard news. For some reason I really didn't think that was gonna hit me as hard as it did, but that was a weird thing to experience, and some emotions that I didn't expect for a stranger, a human that I never met before in my entire life. It's weird sometimes how you connect with people even though you've never ever met them, and the fact that I shed a tear for this gentleman is just, I think it just has to do with just where we are. It's just every week it just adds on, so I don't know. How about Bianca? How did you? I don't know if you felt any sort of way in regards to that.
I also cried, and I'm like, why am I crying? But I think his story is really sad, and that, not sad. I mean, it is sad, yes. But the fact that he had cancer for 4 years and didn't tell anybody, to me, that is just amazing. And he has all these pictures with other kids with cancer, and so he worked with trying to help kids cheer up, and when he himself was actually going through it and nobody knew. So that was just so sad. And also just what he represents. He plays all these just a crazy amazing Black character. Yeah. He's played historical figures, and then he plays, obviously Black Panther is probably his most memorable role. And they're just roles in a movie. So sometimes I think, you know, he himself, Chadwick, is not the Black Panther. I have to like remember that. But he kind of is, you know,
Right.
like he just represents that. And you know, it makes me sad that we won't see him in more films.
Yeah.
Also.
How did it hit you in any way, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Cleon in the sense that I don't really like trip on celebrities dying very much. It is a very compelling, just tragic story that like I didn't know he was 45. 45 is very young. I think he was 45 when he died. He's
40, actually 42, 43.
43. Okay, yeah. He looks 10 years younger. He looks like he's like he's in his early 30s, so he was like a young 43. And also, I mean, he also doesn't look like he was smoking, drinking, being unhealthy. And kind of the saddest part is it seems like he probably got diagnosed with this cancer right when his career was kind of blowing up, but right around that time. So, like, it's just you feel for the guy and his family. You know, he'd been grinding so long in a career that is not easy, you know, as a Black guy in a career that's not easy for anyone. And right when he hit, he got this horrific diagnosis. So yeah, I wasn't so much emotionally affected as I was like, oh shit, like our lives are precious, our lives are fragile, and you never know when your time's gonna come. So yeah, so it's a horrible, horrible story.
Yeah. And I think he fought with such grace to have gone all those years and not even show any signs or not even talk about that, just sort of dealing with it. That is probably some of the hardest. That's probably I feel like that's really hard to do. And the fact that he was able to do that while like just like living a public life and dealing with this sort of tragedy, I would love to be a human like that I can, when I'm dealing with sorrow, I can still handle my business and go about my life, you know, because when I was younger, that's something I feel like I've been trying to get better at. When I was, is sort of, even though life throws a curveball at you, not letting that affect everything else in your life, trying to compartmentalize it. And the fact that he could do that on such a sort of a high pedestal, on such a bright, you know, everyone sort of looking at him, all eyes on him, and he sort of still was able to do that, for me, is just something to look up to.
He was amazing, and I don't know if it's true because you can't trust the internet a lot of the times, but someone posted like a picture of him when he was like, I guess he at some point looked super skinny, like lost his muscle and stuff, and I guess people were like, hey, like what's wrong with you, Black Panther? You look real thin, maybe you should eat and stuff. And I think the purpose of the post was to say, you know, like, you don't know what people are going through, like be kind to people, like, and even then, and if that is true and people were like, you know, being mean to him or whatever, like even then he wasn't like, hey, I have cancer, like chill. Still kept it private, kept it cool, like probably didn't even respond. And it's like, man, like that's a good guy, man.
And to even piggyback off that, there was one of his last movies that he did. It was that Spike Lee movie that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
One of the co-stars. I'm sorry.
It was I forget. It was like the Four Bloods or the
Five Bloods or something like that.
I didn't really like it.
So one of his co-stars, I forgot the gentleman's name, but he's one of the older co-stars. He was talking about, he was doing an interview for like Good Morning UK or something like that. And he was talking about when they were on set, at first he was excited to meet Chadwick, and he was on set with him, and he saw how people were fawning over Chadwick, you know, massaging his foot, making sure his you know, all his health was taken care of. The fact that his wife or girlfriend, I don't know, I think it's his wife, was on set. And he remembered when he was at home and his wife asked, the gentleman, his wife asked how it was working with Chadwick. And his answer was something to the point of, he's become like a like, I don't even know how you call it, like bougie in a way, because of getting all these massages and all this, you know, and he felt kind of sorrow thinking that about Chadwick, when he realized clearly that he was being fawned over because he was battling cancer. Right, and he was dying, and he sort of was talking about how he regretted even thinking that. And it is kind of relevant. Like, you don't really know what people are dealing with in their everyday life, and sometimes we assume we know. We assume people are acting up or acting a certain way because of blah, 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 but we don't really know what people are dealing with. And sometimes we can't, I guess, we have to hold back our opinions until we understand the entire picture, you know? Absolutely. And I think, if anything, that story got me to think about that when I talk about people or when I talk about situations, to sort of make sure I understand the overall, rather than assuming I think I know. So
yes, that's a good takeaway.
This week, there was tons of Trump caravans going on all over the country, tons of racist people clumping together and cheering for Trump. I don't know. I think this week there was a whole thing, even in Rhode Island, there was one going through like Middletown through Newport or whatever, which is not surprising. You know, the one thing I noticed after I left Rhode Island and I came back was how white it is, and how sometimes how not sort of inclusive of other race and minorities. The only place that's really diverse is like Providence. And I've said this before, once you leave that area, it's hella white. And it just, like, through my entire childhood, I thought Rhode Island was a very blue state, but clearly I'm an idiot. It's not. It's hella Republican. It's either middle or Republican. And it's just sad to hear that even in your backyard that you have intense people like that. It makes you feel even more unsafe. I don't think anything right now in this country makes me feel safe, man. I feel like everything's against me. Everything's like, there's no positive anything, you know? And so I guess having to deal with that this week was intense. Have you, Bianca, did you hear anything about this? Like the caravans and shit going through?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw someone was just like taking a video of the rally or whatever, a couple people out in front of the State House. Doesn't surprise me at all. I in high school, I went to a private school out in East Greenwich, and just for 1 year, and then I had to get out of there. So I'm well aware of what happens outside of Providence. So it doesn't surprise me one bit. And yeah, man, I mean, to me, people who continue to say that, you know, their political views on this doesn't necessarily mean anything about their social views, I don't buy it.
Exactly.
I don't want anybody out, but it's
like, how do you separate those two? It's like, it's deafening, man. You know, in this country, it's deafening how many people that you think are for you or for the cause are so, it's like what do they call it? The wolves in sheep clothing type situation, man. And I've realized how many more there are in this fucking, in not only in this state, but in this country. And you have to be so weary of your culture, of your blackness, of your, like, all that, because you have to sort of, I don't know, be on guard. It's intense. It's intense, man. I don't like the feeling of that. I don't know, man. I really don't. It's intense. Jake, did you hear any of the caravan stuff happening in the
state? I wasn't aware it was happening here. I'm not surprised. I heard they put out a nationwide call. But yeah, I mean, just going back to how Rhode Island's kind of weird, because we are actually a very blue state compared to other states when we vote electorally. But growing up in Providence, I mean, the Republican Party has always been based on basically like free markets, like having a strong military, and like white grievance, like being against the civil rights movement, you know? And growing up, I never heard people being like, yeah, we really gotta, you know, cut taxes and regulations, or we really gotta have a strong military. I didn't hear this from a lot of white Rhode Islanders. I did hear a lot of racial grievance though. Like I did hear like, oh, this neighborhood used to be better before the Puerto Ricans moved in, or like we'd have more if the blacks weren't taken so much. So that was stuff I heard all the time, family, but from other white people in Rhode Island. And when Donald Trump came up, when I first saw Donald Trump in the Republican convention, I was like, he's gonna kill the Rhode Island primary, because he just kind of speaks the language of the average Rhode Island Republican, you know. So yeah, I'm not surprised there's a lot of Trump support here. Yeah, I'm surprised that a candidate like Trump took so long to kind of come up and take advantage of those feelings.
Well, he came.
What?
I said, did he come here? I don't.
No, just in fact, I think that mentality, these white people who are kind of voting Republican just out of a sense of racial grievance, I think Trump really did a good job mobilizing those voters.
But, you know, I think the thing is, people talk all the time about how Trump's strategy is so smart, but it's like his only strategy is fear. And I don't know if fear is smart. It's easy. Is easy smart? Like if you do the easy thing, is it smart, or does it depend? Because it's not.
It's clever. It's not wise. It's clever.
Okay.
It's not wise.
Because it's not. I don't feel like it's challenging to be like, oh, they're gonna come and get your stuff. The others, like.
Yeah, listen, there's nothing smart about Trump. Trump is just an unapologetic racist. You know, he's just an old school Archie Bunker type, and he didn't have a filter about it. And other Republicans who felt that way had to, you know, for reasons, you know, they felt like they had to kind of hide behind dog whistles. Trump just came out and said it. And I'm not saying that was a smart strategy, but it was a successful one, you know?
You know what's something that I really wonder, and maybe this is just me, my imagination, like, was Trump, do we know, was Trump born and raised in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know at least he lived there for a long time. And like, my feeling sometimes is that like, he's a fabulous actor and is very smart and is taking, not really smart, but clever, like you said, and is just, like, because I'm like, how do you grow up in this like place where it's so diverse? You know, the LGBT community, like you know, Black people, Hispanic people, like there's just so many types of people there, and you grew up immersed in this. Like, I feel like it's hard for people from Providence, for me to believe people from Providence are racist. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but what I'm saying is that like my weird like fantasy Trump story is that like he's joking, like, because it feels like this is a joke, right? Like it feels like this gotta be a joke if you know this can't be true. Like,
but as much as New York is diverse, it's still segregated. Just like Los Angeles is diverse as a whole, but white people live where white people live, Mexicans live where Mexicans live, Blacks live where Blacks live. So just because you live in you might live in like LA, or you might live in like New York, it doesn't mean you're living the same experience. So I could clearly see how he can live amongst diverse people and even talk and interact and still.
He's a total Goomba. Like I'm Italian American, and like we use the term Goomba for like a broed out dude, but like usually older, like usually quote unquote, you know, an Italian or white guy, you know, quote unquote from the streets. But
what is Trump's ethnicity? Is he like?
I think he's German. I think he's German.
Oh, that sounds. Oh God.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter. You can be a Goomba from any ethnicity.
Yeah, of course.
They often have been in and out of prison, but still vote Republican. Like that's a typical Goomba, you know? And like, that's the kind of guy Trump is, you know? He like, you know, he might have had his problems with Islam, but that doesn't mean he likes the Blacks. You know, he understands them and he knows how they get that. Like, that's the kind of guy he is.
Right.
Yeah, I met a million people like him growing up, you know?
I don't get it. Like how do you live amongst people who you see in all different walks of life? Like in New York, you see, you know, affluent Black folks, you see poor Black folks, obviously, like.
You can see them and not interact with them.
Or have negative interactions. I mean, I mean, you know, growing up, like I'm blessed that I had a lot of Black friends. I went to school with Black kids. I had a lot of like positive interactions, but like, there was also that time that like, you know, me and John were walking on the wrong side of Hope Street and a bunch of Black kids came up behind us and stabbed John in the ear and stomped him out, you know? So that, I feel like people of all races, just because you grow up with people of other races doesn't mean you're going to like those folks.
But that's the thing, like sometimes, and I'm going to talk outside my mouth, sometimes white people have one experience, one bad experience with black people, and they're like, oh, black people are
100.
and black people constantly have bad experience with white people, and we somehow find a way to separate good white people from bad white people. It's
I think
just find that fascinating.
I mean, I think there are a lot of black people who have bad experiences with white people and put it on the whole group, and likewise with white people. And I think generally you shouldn't do that. Well,
I think you're false equivocating, but yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's the same.
I don't think it's the same.
Everything.
I think for black people, it takes way more for us to get traumatized because we're just so used to things being unfair. It's not as easy to traumatize black people as it is, I feel. Anyways, this is just a dumbass opinion.
I'm not saying that I had it as hard as you had it, Clan. I'm just saying I think, a lot of times proximity means it's like a lot of times proximity leads to dislike as much as it leads to like people loving each other.
All right. So the next story that I have for you guys, we're going to head into the random news portion of the show. And the story is entitled Overtime. So Emily Gill, she's 18, of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. She received a letter earlier this month from Mayor Mario M. Krug, and he's looking for payment of $2,499.26 for police overtime caused by, he says, quote, police overtime caused by your protest. So there's a mayor in New Jersey. He's asking for payment from a civilian, even though we pay taxes and we already pay for the police, asking for a civilian to pay even more, $2,000 and change for overtime for, a protest. How do you feel about that, Bianca?
That is the silliest thing I have ever heard of. I mean, is that even something that they can do?
No.
Like, the bill.
Like we already paid. That's the whole point of taxes. We already pay for all of that. What?
Oh, yeah, like I'm just gonna throw this person a bill. Like, all right, I'm gonna throw this away. Like this has not.
That's just petty, man. That's just straight pettiness.
Yeah, man. That is just straight pettiness. I have no other words for it. That's a great word. Like it's just petty and foolish and just you make yourself look dumb. Like
an 18-year-old girl, she don't have $2,000. She like.
I wonder, did she have any reaction? Like, do we know of? Like, was she like, what the hell? Like, or was she like, oh my god, I gotta pay this?
No, I don't think she even. I don't even think she's. She plans on really paying it, because she said she tried to meet with them, because I guess they're saying that she didn't go through the proper routes for the protest, but she said that she tried to get in contact with them and to do a Zoom meeting, and they kind of.
Who sent her the letter? It was the mayor.
The mayor, yes.
Okay,
yeah. Mayor. I wouldn't pay that. I'm like, oh, you're gonna nah. I'm not like. What do you mean, bro? I already paid for this. This is what I pay taxes for. What do you mean? I'm gonna do what?
Did she even want them there to begin with? She didn't even ask them to be there.
What, the police? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess they kind of have to be there, but that's part of their job. Like, that's not.
Yeah, like, sorry I interrupted your donut eating. Or I
know, whatever you were doing that day.
That's like a classic thing. Do cops really eat a lot of donuts? I feel like that's silly.
I don't know.
A lot of them look like they do.
Maybe back.
No disrespect, guys.
Much disrespect, guys.
Ooh, I want to bring something up. I meant to text you about this beforehand. I don't know if you are going to bring it up or have seen it, but do you know about the ordeal with Allie's Donuts?
No.
Do you know about the original thing with Allie's Donuts? Do you know Allie's Donuts?
I don't know.
I didn't even know there was an Allie's Donuts.
Look at our physique, Bianca. Does it look like we are hanging out at Allie's?
I do know Allie's Donuts. Oh. I know Allie personally. Anyways, no. So Allie's Donuts it's like a super popular donut shop in Rhode Island. I think it's in Warwick or something. And when the Black Lives Matter movement started like really revving up, in the spring, they said that they were no longer going to give the cops 10% off. They used to give all cops and military folks 10% off. So they said they're stopping that, and they were making a stance. They were taking a stance on it, You know, they're like, Black Lives Matter, like, we're not doing this anymore. So people were pissed. Me and my mom would like get in line, because yes, we frequent there. But we would get in line, people would like honk their horn, and, like put the finger up and everything at us.
Yo.
Like people in line, it's ridiculous. But just the other day, they kind of turned that around and they were like, we're gonna give a free box of donuts to anybody who comes in and says they will give said box to a police officer or a police station or whatever. And that was so weird. I mean, you don't know enough about it to like really discuss it, so maybe we could talk more about it next week, but I was curious like what people thought about that.
Listen, not knowing about a subject has never stopped us from talking about it. I think we should shoot.
Experts instantly, yeah.
I don't know what to like. I don't know what to really say about it, because I don't know what the issue is, other than them reversing, which is very typical of companies and corporations. I don't feel, and this is I guess my assumption on it, I don't like Rhode Islanders aren't tenacious, man. We don't like we don't have that much fight in us. I feel like so many places have like, they're like gritty and they fight for shit, right?
So quick.
Like minorities here, we don't fight for shit, man. We're just so like, that's the way it is sometimes, and I fucking hate that mentality. So like,
I don't think this is a statement on minorities or people in Rhode Island, because I'm assuming the people who own this building or this donut place are white. But like, probably just, I think it's so typical because folks will see something on social media, like they probably thought there was this like monolithic, like, you know, they probably thought, you know, the Black Lives Matter mentality, the mentality that all three of us have was monolithic, that everyone had it, you know, and they kind of did it. They changed this rule, not because they believed strongly in it, but because they thought it was going to get them business. They figured out the hard way that about 50% of Cranston feels opposite than us, and now they're trying to dial it back, and it's just like,
and that's cowardice.
Yeah, you shouldn't make a stand unless you're going to make a stand.
Like, yeah, like that's what I
tell you. They were still selling out of donuts every day because we would go there and damn it, our favorite donuts weren't available.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean by wolves in sheep clothing, like people who pretend like they're for the cause to make profit off of our backs. You know, people do that all the time when it comes to our culture and shit. And tons of corporations, when Black Lives Matter was hot in these streets, they're like all for it and they'll put up signs, but they didn't actually do anything within their company to rectify the situation. They just like to put up signs and I hate shit like that. That's why I don't participate in something unless I know it's for real, man.
I'm gonna read what they wrote on the thing when they said that they were giving out donuts for officers. It says, please accept this gift as an understanding that the citizens of Rhode Island and their numerous police forces are all together, capital letters, standing for and protecting justice and equality in our communities. Our unified goal is to keep each other safe and will keep everyone accountable for peaceful and respectful behavior in our efforts to reach out.
We don't have the backbone, like I said. I'm gonna stay with what I said earlier. I feel like we don't have the fighting spirit. I don't think a minority owns that company, because I don't even know if there's a minority owned company in Rhode Island, but I don't think a minority owns that company. I think it was a Caucasian person who thought they could, in the time when Black Lives Matter was hot in these streets, like I said, they can stand up and maybe make some more money. And when they saw that it was too much of a thing, they backed out. And I hate when Caucasians do that sometimes, man.
Like they were literally getting death threats. I was saying earlier, like when people were rolling by, giving the finger and everything, like that was serious. Like they almost like had to shut down a couple times because they were like, yeah, like our employees don't feel safe coming to work because we're literally getting calls of death threats.
I don't know. You guys can threaten me. I don't care. I'm done. Like I'm not gonna allow some dude threatening my life to weaken my stance on something, because that's what they use all the time. They use the same tactics and it works. That's why I don't think it highlights my point why I don't think Trump is a smart person, because all these people, they use the same tactics every time. Someone who's speaking about something that they don't approve of, they do the same thing. They threaten lives all the time. They do the same weak ass shit. It's not smart. It's not clever. It's just what works. And they know that the majority of people, as soon as they feel unsafe, they're going to back away, because that's how America's trained, man. We're trained to back away as soon as we see too much conflict. We're like, oh God, oh God. So that's why I always give big ups to people who are like part of the protest, who go out there and actually stand with like their words and what they say, because not a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are like that Alley's, whatever that donut place is. They're cowards and they're liars and they're pretenders.
It's so weird. Like, so somebody said to them, you straight up shouldn't have you shouldn't have to give cops donuts so that they take the time to listen to you and convince them to protect a marginalized and oppressed portion of the population. And that was actually by my girl, Victoria.
Yeah.
She
That is smart.
Girl.
That is smart. Exactly, Victoria. Why is my name up on the thing? Why am I the only one? Oh, everyone's named there. Sorry. So dumb. I was like, why is...
I mean, yeah, like about 30 years ago, the rap group Mobb Deep made a song where they said there ain't no place for halfway crooks. I'm paraphrasing here. But you don't want to, you should, if you're going to commit, you got to commit. If you're going to take a stand, you got to take a stand. And that's true in relationships. That's true in politics. That's true in everything. And they ended up probably making themselves look stupid on both sides now. You know, they were trying to get...
Yeah, now no one is happy.
Yeah, and now they look lukewarm. They should have kept their fucking mouth shut. So, it's a good...
All right, let me ask the tough question, Bianca. Still getting donuts from them? Hmm?
Obviously. She's like, I'm going to deliver these to cops. Can you give me
No. First of all, like 80 pounds. And,
Wait, did you say you lost 80 pounds? I'm sorry.
Hell no, I said
okay. No, congratulations.
No. So far, I've lost about 0.8 pounds.
Congrats.
No, thank you. I look good, but but yeah, no, I'm not gonna go now. I mean, it was kind of a drive, and if you're from Rhode Island, you don't like driving more than 5 minutes at Dagger
anywhere.
Yeah, like seriously, I'm like, do I really have to go to Warwick to get donuts? Like, that's ridiculous. Gotta make a day of it. All right, I'm gonna do everything I need to do in Warwick, so I never have to come back here again. But anyways, I don't see myself making that trek again. This is a very odd thing. I'm not understanding. I think it's a shame.
I only go to Warwick to buy guns.
Right, so speaking of odd things, the next story has to do with Ubisoft, which is a French video game giant. They make video games. So they had to apologize because Friday on social media, someone pointed out that their new game, Elite Squad, features a black power fist as a symbol for a terrorist organization. So the terrorist organization is called Umbra, which is French, or I mean Latin for shadow. So they are apologizing all over the place because, yeah, their game shows the Black Power Fist as a terrorist organization. So propaganda, guys, they're propagandizing against us colored folks, making it seem like we just want to destroy the country. This is a good way to get that into the small kids. Just start with the video games, the best way.
That's sad.
It's crazy because those counterterrorism games have been pretty racist for a long time. I'm surprised that this is the year that they're going to apologize once or twice and then go back to the way they were in 2021.
All those Tom Clancy games, that's why I don't even play none of those, man. Those are ridiculous.
I mean, I fuck with them hard, but like super Islamophobic. You know?
All right, the next story that I have for you guys is entitled Cultural Appropriation. So guys, I don't know if you've heard this. British singer Adele is being accused of cultural appropriation for a new look that she had on Instagram. So Adele was celebrating the Notting Hill Carnival, which is an annual London event promoting Caribbean culture and interracial tolerance, which is awesome. And in the photo, Adele is shown wearing a Jamaican flag bikini top, and she had her hair in something called a buntu knot.
Bantu knots, come on.
And she was killing it. Now, a lot of people are saying cultural appropriation, and I just want to say, as a Jamaican, I disagree. I don't think it was a cultural appropriation. What the fuck is wrong with wearing a flag on your, like right now? I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see it. It's a shirt and it has a British flag on it. Am I cultural appropriating because I have a shirt?
Check yourself, Cleon.
Am I like
privilege at the door?
Like, it doesn't make sense, man. Just because she's clearly celebrating something. It was a festival that celebrates Caribbean culture. She was just representing. Why do we jump to these things all the time? Like, why can't we have allies who just want to represent without it being some big thing? This is why sometimes white people, I think, are afraid to even like goddamn, because we just jump down their throats. We don't even try to explain why it's wrong. And I personally, like I said, as a Jamaican, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I personally didn't. What do you think, Bianca?
So I think it's the Bantu knots that are more so the issue than the bikini. Although I think the picture is out of context for me. I didn't see that she was at a festival.
Well,
and I know, like, here's the thing that bugs me out is that especially when I went to that private school in East Greenwich, people, every time you come back from Christmas break, it's the girls, they got the damn cornrows, talking about
right.
so-and-so did them in the Caribbean islands when they went, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh, good Lord. It's like, oh, this hurts so bad. How does it stick to your scalp? Bianca, how do you do this all the time? I'm just like, oh my God. It would be every time we had a vacation, they would come back with that shit. So that would annoy me. But I don't necessarily, I mean, I would not flip out over that. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, if you're celebrating something, you're trying to like be part of the culture or whatever, then like, sure, like have fun with it for a day. I think if she's walking around with Bantu knots, like in England, like eating her crumpets, like whatever, like not like just being herself, then I'd be like, but even then I'd be like, all right, like pull your hair out if you want, like your hair's probably gonna break off, but all right, whatever. Like that style's not meant for you, but whatever.
Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think it brings up a lot of good points. I mean, one thing is, if you're going to be mad at Adele for acting black or using black cultural forms, like, you need to be mad at Adele for her whole career, you know, because like I love Adele. She's one of my favorite artists. Like women were not singing like that in Britain in the 1400s. Like those, like, you know, the way she sings comes from like African American culture.
Yeah, she has soul in her voice.
Exactly. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I think just like it's cool, like if one of my best friends is a black woman who like loves classical music, you know, and she plays a bunch of classical instruments. She knows how to conduct orchestras, you know, and like because she's from West Africa, or she's not from, just because her family originally is from West Africa, like I don't think that makes it any worse that I don't think there's anything wrong with her just being really interested in this European art form. And I know some people will say like that's her right to be interested in European things. She's an oppressed person. And like as white people, we cannot be interested in things that people of color do.
That's not what they're saying, though. I don't think we're saying, I don't think they're saying that you can't be interested. And I guess that's my argument that I want to argue. It's that you can't take it and pretend like it's yours. Like you came up with this idea. Like, for instance, there was this white woman, like I think it was like last year, she came up with this company that started selling like, what do you call it? Like black woman head ties. What do you call those? Like bonnets or whatever.
There's different kinds, yeah.
Headscarf.
Yeah, headscarves. And she made it seem like she came up with this like thing. That's, I feel like, is cultural appropriation. But representing or wearing it like Adele did, she's not. She's at a fest for it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if wearing Bantu knots is wrong, or chini knots, whatever you want to call them, then like then her singing like that is wrong too, you know? Right. And but I will say, I mean, here's one thing I want to bring up, because basically fairly recently I had a Caribbean acquaintance who I didn't know him well and stuff, but we were going to do a business deal. And I approached him, and just kind of thinking he wouldn't think anything of it, I approached him. I said, "Wagwan," you know, or actually texted him, and he got extremely angry, and it ended up becoming a violent confrontation over that. And I think it just goes to show that like I use that terminology with him because like I have a lot of Caribbean friends who don't care when I use patois, who like think it's funny or whatever. But just because I have Caribbean friends who are cool with that, like does not mean I'm going to be universally accepted in saying that. And obviously he overreacted. It never should have gotten violent, you know, but I was fine. I mean, he was super soft at the end of the day, but so it was totally fine. But I just think that maybe that's something we should all, I mean, no matter who you are, whether you're white or black, you need to keep that in mind. Like just because like you have people you're super close with from this culture who are cool with that, who accept you, you still need to be fucking careful when you're moving with people from different cultures. Cause like, you know, misunderstandings can happen easily. So yeah, I think.
And let me just say that overall though, you don't look good when you do, like, Adele, girl, you don't look good. You look bad.
I will agree with you.
I think Adele looked better when she was fat, honestly.
I wouldn't say that, but the hairstyle didn't match her face. It didn't go well with her face. No. I would agree with you.
I mean, I love her with that long, you know.
When white people
hello,
do dreads,
how are you?
when white people do dreads, man, I can't. I've never seen one white person I say, oh, you know, that's decent dreads. I never in my whole life seen that.
I've seen it pull off like once in a blue moon. Once
I'm like,
once in a.
The thing about white people with dreadlocks is they usually have a whole aesthetic to go along with it.
Yeah.
I generally don't care for it, so there's that. I say that as a not, so I'm
All right. So the next story that we're going to move on to has to do with this black professor, guys. This black professor, or so we thought. So a history professor of political activists at George Washington University has published and admitted that she is actually white and Jewish, guys. That's right.
The Kansas City suburbs.
Yep, she is not actually black. She's Jewish. Despite her claims of, you know, being black for years, she's been saying. Her name is Jessica A. Krug. Is her name? I'm sure I'm saying that right. Krug. Krug. Is that how you say that? Anyways, so yeah, she's claiming that she's not black anymore. And
I'm sorry, what did this person do?
So go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, so she was an African-American history professor at W University, a very good college. And she had this whole persona about herself. She said she was from the South Bronx. She said she was Afro-Latina from the South Bronx. And she was very strident about it. You know, she was very much like, fuck these white people. Like, white people should not be allowed in black and brown spaces. Like, don't talk white people, black and brown people should talk. And it was ironic because she looks like me after I have a tan. Like, she did not look Afro-Latina at all. But she was tricking all these folks. And I mean, it came out, I guess people figured it out. And she had this long, cringy Medium post, basically like, I'm very, very sorry, but it's all true. I'm a Jewish girl from suburban Kansas, and I've been saying it.
She said, the truth and the anti-black violence of my lies. I guess that's what it was entitled. She said she's North American blackness, then U.S.-rooted blackness, then Caribbean-rooted Bronx blackness for a better part of my adult life. I am not a culture vulture. I'm a culture leech. Facts.
What's that even mean?
She's correct. She called it. I agree with her. I've thought about ending these lies many times over many years, but my cowardice was always more powerful than my ethics. So I guess she's saying she thought about coming out as white, which is a weird statement to say.
Guys, I have something to tell you.
Thought about walking out of the shadows into the light, and she was too cowardice to actually do it. She said, you should absolutely cancel me, and I absolutely cancel myself. So she is, you know, falling on the sword. It's like hard to like, how do you chastise someone who's just like, fuck it, I'm nothing, I'm garbage, you're right, hate me, I'm terrible. Like, I don't want to add on to that.
Well, no, here's the thing. I mean, we were talking about how cultural appropriation, sometimes like accusations of that go a little OD, but this is really dangerous cultural appropriation because not only was she kind of claiming, she was in a very well-respected academic institution, claiming to be a voice of these people who don't have enough voice as it is and taking that spot from someone else. She also got a bunch of grants. So she got a bunch of money that was earmarked for scholars of color. So like she might be getting, I mean, fuck getting chastised. She might do time for that. Like she is probably there's probably gonna be legal proceedings. She might go to jail. And, what? Yeah, transracial. Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of parallels to Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah.
There's probably
acting black, isn't she?
What?
Huh?
I think Rachel Dolezal is still walking around claiming.
Yeah, Rachel don't give a fuck. Rachel's like, yes, so what?
Rachel, I'm like Caitlyn Jenner, bro.
She gives no F's at all. But the crazy thing is that like now it pops in my mind. I'm like, there must be way more of these people out there that are like pretending to be like black and Latino and are not.
100%, I've met people like this. Like I remember at my undergraduate school, the counselor, like the adult who was supposed to be a counselor, would always claim to be black. And Shorty had blonde hair and blue eyes. So honestly, she might have just been extremely mixed race, but like people were basically like, Shorty wanted a job. The school needed to hire people of color, and she just checked that box like as a Hail Mary and just living with it. I think a lot of people do that.
I think that is so terrible, man. Like, wow. It's like survival, I guess. But man, I can't imagine. I guess I can't imagine taking over another culture just to, I guess, get along. It's like, and then it doesn't make sense because when you're, in my opinion, as a black man, when you're white, you have all the heads up, you have all the leeway. Like, why are you falling back like? It makes no sense.
Some people.
I mean, back in the day when people of African descent pretended to be white, like I totally understand that. But yeah, right now, like you might get that one job if you're black, but I can tell you, we don't have it that hard. Like,
But let me tell you, I feel like I know people who just, and like in other examples, not with race necessarily, but like to like have adversity. Like they
100%.
It like literally makes them feel like they're part of some sort of cool group or like.
100%.
You know, like I don't know what it is, but I swear I know folks. It's like, why?
I don't get it. Dude, like, I would trade my left nut to live carefree for just 1 year. Give me 1 year of fucking carefree white living of not giving a shit about no one but myself. Like, oh my God.
Here's the thing, Glenn. That's because you're a rational person, but a lot of people aren't rational. Like when you see this YouTube video of her, I showed it to Clay.
Clayon's never heard that before.
Yeah, yeah. She's somewhat rational. But if you see this video of this woman's in some sort of public Zoom meeting where she's like basically, it's about her community in New York, and she's basically just castigating the white people in her community. She's like, you people moved here, we are here, you guys,
us people,
you should let me talk first. And I mean, like, she was like, no white person should talk before someone like me, a black and brown person, should talk. And like obviously it's insane because she's a white person who moved from out of town, who's taking up spaces. Obviously it's insanely hypocritical, but like I know people who that would appeal to. Like I know people who want to be able to get up there and be like, what, like I need to talk first. Like I have all this grievance, and yeah, I mean it's like you said, like it's not a good thing, but it's common.
Also, I cannot believe that people in her life did not realize that she was white, because if you listen to the way she talks, I'm like, that is a white person pretending to talk like a black person. That is the first thing that popped in my brain when I listened to her. She
sounded like a Jewish actress from the Midwest playing a Puerto Rican gang member in a Jackie Chan movie.
Oh no!
You're like, fuck you mean? Fuck you mean? And I'm like, oh, we need to play. If we don't play, right now I'm gonna edit the video in just because it's hilarious.
Yeah. All right, edit. Yeah, do that.
It's so funny.
Hey, I'm Jessa Bombalera. I'm here in El Barrio, East Harlem. You probably know this neighborhood because the Hosanna Melissa Mark Viverito, who used to be the speaker of your city council, sold my fucking neighborhood to developers and gentrifiers. So I got a couple of things to say. And when y'all come on and tell me my time stops, fuck out of here. It's been 7 hours. Not only did I have to listen to these cops, and not just the cops, but to be honest with y'all, city council members, you posing like you opposing them for your sound bites, for your social media, for your re-election campaigns. Fuck out of here. You've been supporting the cops in the pandemic when the MTA was strapped and you supported putting more cops on the MTA. Fuck out of here. We know where you're coming from, and we know what these little photo opportunity bullshits are. I also want to call out all these white New Yorkers who waited 4 hours with us to be able to speak and then did not yield their time to Black and brown indigenous New Yorkers who thought that their sense of, I thought cops was here to protect us, but I guess they're not. Boy, you think that this sort of like shock and empathy thing is the move. Stop playing games with us. Stop playing in our face. To all the white people after me, yield your time to Black and brown people, right? And stop playing in our faces.
Oh God, that is just so god awful and strange.
Speaking of
By the way,
strange,
I don't believe in being transracial.
no, that is some bullshit.
I brought that up as a joke because the Rachel Dolezal.
I mean, it's one thing if you're like honest with everyone and be like, listen, I'm white, but like I grew up in a Black community and like I just feel like I'm Black, take it or leave it. You know, if you're
we have tons of those. We have tons of people who we know are white, who are who are our allies. We like, you could be white and be, down.
Yeah.
We welcome that. But
then if you're like, oh, I'm from the Bronx, when you're really from suburban Kansas City, like that's a couple steps too far.
Anyways, so speaking of a couple of steps too far, this next story has to do with this guy. His name is Sandro, and Sandro, aka Mr. Skullface. So the reason why he's called Mr. Skullface is because he has a load of tattoos on his face. Hopefully, Jake, the picture pops up and you see who I'm talking about, Mr. Skullface.
I got you.
Yeah, he has a bunch of like tattoos on his face. And the reason we're talking about him is because he got his ears removed and he placed it in a jar.
Wait, his name is Mr. Skullhead?
Mr. Skullface.
Skullface.
Hit it right, Bianca. Don't misname him.
Yes.
Skullhead came
Skullface. And yes, so he got his ears removed and placed in a jar. And he supposedly wants to get his nose cut off next because he wants to resemble just the skull, just a, skull.
The fuck happened to these people? Like, what was done to this man to do this? I don't get it.
It has to be attention. I know some of them talk about that it's not attention, but it has to be attention. You want people to constantly be looking at you at all times. You have to. For you to like put all that on your face, take your ears off, you are modifying your face to not even resemble a human face. And you think people aren't gonna like look at you. You clearly want eyes on you at all times. And just be honest with that.
Listen, we're all attention whores. Every single last one of us. That's why we're on this podcast.
We have a show on YouTube that we're trying to get people to watch.
Exactly.
By the way, please
subscribe, guys, please.
Please, God damn it. Anyway.
But there's a difference between, I'm an attention whore. I'll talk loudly at parties and start a podcast with my friends. And I'm an attention whore. I'm going to cut my nose off my face so people stare at me like a train wreck walking down the street.
You're like, I want to resemble a skull. I think that's a good look for me. And I think like the ladies will love if my, just very symmetrical, no ears. Look at that. I could run faster, maybe.
Like beforehand.
Streamline.
Yeah, you just
he wins
like
the swimming. He becomes an Olympic swimmer.
Maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to become a more efficient human. You got to get rid of the ears first, cut down the nose so that you could just cut through the.
I feel bad talking shit about it. I'm gonna get some work done.
All right. So guys, every couple of weeks I do this because like I told you guys, I'm bad with rap lyrics. So we're gonna head into the segment that's entitled "Cleon Doesn't Understand Rap Lyrics." So the first rap lyrics I have for you guys is from the artist The Game. Hopefully you guys know The Game. And the song is "My Life." And the lyrics go, "Hated on so much, Passion of Christ, need a sequel." Now, I'm confused on what that means. I don't know if it seems like he's comparing himself to Jesus Christ, right? I'm assuming he's saying like, so many people hate on me, they should make like a sequel to Passion of Christ. But I'm confused on why he's comparing himself to Jesus. Like it doesn't make like sense. Because he's like a gangster, isn't he? Like Isn't that his whole thing?
I guess he's comparing the amount of hate. Like he feels like people have pinned him to a, I don't know, crucifix.
Because in the Bible, isn't just a section of people? Only the Romans hated Jesus. Like it's not like
the Jews
everybody.
hated him too.
Oh, okay. So
Whoa.
Yeah, Bianca's got some explaining to do, Clam. Let me
Bianca.
Those were cool. He is a Jew.
I mean, that's the thing. I think one of the beautiful stories about Jesus was that he was persecuted both by the authorities, by the Roman government, and his own people, like the people who should have been looking out for him, because he was Jewish too.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah, and my Italian grandmother, I think it's throughout Christian cultures, because like when my Italian grandmother was having a tough time, she'd be like, que cruz, which means like, what a cross, you know, because obviously I'm not a devout Christian or anything, but I think one of the beautiful things about Christianity is that like God suffered immensely, and like the suffering you feel right now is was also felt by God, and he not only can bless you and give you grace for that suffering, but he can relate to it. And in Gaines' old way, I think he was drawing to that very ancient tendency in Christian and Western civilization, Western literature, to, you know, compare our suffering to the sufferings of Christ. And I think it is a beautiful thing.
I thought you were going to connect it with, because you said like the government hated on Christ and so did the people. I was thinking that maybe Game was thinking that, you know, I think he did get arrested, so the government did hate on him, and there's certain civilians that be hating on him because they don't like his music.
And I mean, Games of Blood, usually when gang members become rappers, their own gang puts hits on them and stuff. You know, Nipsey Hussle killed by a member of his set. So yeah, you probably could relate to that.
Really? I don't really know the story of Nipsey Hussle at all, which is shameful, I guess.
He's a Crip. He was a Crip.
Yeah, he was a member of I think the 60s. That's like a Crip set, and another member of his Crip set supposedly snitched, and Nipsey Hussle caught him publicly accused him of snitching, and the guy left and came back and killed him. It was a thing. It never should happen.
All right, so the next, thank you guys for helping me with that lyrics. The next artist that we're going to discuss is Chingy, and it's from the song Balla Baby.
I love all the throwback raps you're bringing back. Bring back to high school, kid.
So this is what Chingy said in that song that I'm a little confused. He says, I like them black, white, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, like Japanese, Chinese, or even Asian. Isn't Chinese considered Asian? Isn't that part of the Asian diaspora? Or maybe he's saying
I mean, Chingy is such a good lyricist. I am shocked that he had to take some shortcuts to make the rhyme scheme. I am shocked.
He could have said something other than Chinese.
I'm saying there's so many other cultures. Chingy's like, all right, black, got it, white, great.
Guyanese, he could have said Guyanese. There's a lot of pieces.
Some Japanese, some Chinese, and some other Asians, like, you know, the others. So maybe he's just doing the Indians, because Indians are considered Asian, so that's his way of saying, also, I like Indian women.
Makes it more inclusive, too. All these women listening to Chingy's album being like, don't you like us?
Does Chingy even like women? I feel like
I thought he had doesn't he? I don't
know. I think there was a rumor, maybe it was just a nasty rumor when I was in high school. You know, people are stupid. They're like, oh yeah, Chingy's gay, haha. Like,
every black celebrity has to deal with gay rumors and Illuminati rumors. Like if you're a black celebrity and you don't have blogs saying you're a gay member of the Illuminati, you're a black celebrity.
That's just, you're double dead.
Yeah.
Oh God. So I guess he's just trying to make it more inclusive and just saying not only Chinese Asians, but Indian Asians and all the Asians. So he's just making it wide. So that's cool. That's good. I appreciate that, Chingy. The last artist, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I've never heard of him until now, but his name is Snap. Anyone? No. Well, supposedly he has a song called Rhyme is a Dancer. That's right. Rhyme is a dancer. And the lyric goes, I'm as serious as cancer when I say rhymes is a dancer. What does that mean? What does cancer have to do with Why are they in the same sentence?
Because he's serious as a heart attack, kid.
But what? No, but for real, what
Very
is?
serious about this, so that's the cancer part. But
All right, I'm as serious as a cancer when I say rhymes is a dancer. That's where I get confused.
I think we need
I
some
don't
more
even understand
context
that
about
sentence.
who Rhymes is and what kind of dancing he or she is doing. He, she, or they is doing.
When I say rhyme is a dancer.
It might be a throwback. Remember that song from the 80s that I loved? Like, rhythm is a dancer. Come on, baby, let go. Maybe it's a throwback to that. Love that song. Body like the summer, fuck you like no other. Oh, that's on.
That's good.
Good now. I'm remixing.
I just wanted you to go a little higher. Just get up there. You know, it's nice. Thank you guys. We didn't clarify that one because that one was hella confusing. I really don't know what he means by rhymes as a dancer. It makes no sense to me. So we're gonna move on. I have a weird question for you guys. And I was watching something and they had this question. I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty cool question. So if you were the opposite sex, what would your style be? You ever like think about like if you were a dude, Bianca, if you were a female, Jake, like how would you dress? Like how do you think you would like what would your swagger be? Like I was thinking about it. I'm like, I would probably be one of them thoughts. Like I would probably have a tight dress on all the time, always trying to show off my figure and shit. Like I would be that type. I would probably still have dreads, but I would probably be like the sundress type dress skirt type of motherfucker.
No, you wouldn't have dreads because you'd be like a different hairdo every week kind of girl.
It would be
Sometimes
dreads,
you'd
but
get
it
the
would be
fake-
all
the
in
fake
loops.
dreads.
It would be
Yeah.
all kinds of like shit flaring off. It would be fantastic. But I think I would be one of those women who are just always showing their figures off, like butt just always out, cleavage always on blast. Like
I'd probably be real. We'd probably be closer if you were in that case.
Jake,
Like,
just
girl?
because you and I are different in the way Rhode Island's supposed to do doesn't mean I don't like you, man.
Oh,
is
thanks.
that what you like to see in women?
No, because what I like to see in women, I do like sundresses. But I like but I do like a girl that's a little bit more casual with it. Like she's not always flashy. I like the more natural look than I do the like makeup and just always looking like you're just right at all times. I feel like there's something wrong about a girl that every time you see her, she looks like mwah. Like I'm like, you don't clearly care about anything else in life but the way you look.
Right.
I like a girl that sometimes is natural, who sometimes can flare it up. So yeah, I don't know. Jake, what about you? If you were a girl, what would you?
So these are two questions because my best friend and roommate is a lesbian who she identifies as a woman, kind of moves like a dude, like has always wore like the Jordans, And if I woke up tomorrow as a woman, like I'd probably just copy her swag. I'd probably keep the haircut, And
Wait, so you dress like a lesbian?
if I was still, but if I woke up tomorrow as like a red-blooded heterosexual fucking
Girl,
woman,
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying if you're not gonna wake up and still be attracted to girls, Jake. You're gonna be a woman. You're gonna have woman tendencies. You're gonna see certain men, and you're gonna get all hot and bothered.
I would probably just rock yoga pants because I've never worn them, but I've heard they're comfortable. They look good, and they look good, So that's kind of athleisure. Right now, as a red-blooded American male, I stick with athleisure. If I was a hot chick, I think I would go the hot chick because obviously I'd be gorgeous, and I think I'd go the hot chick athleisure wear. A lot of yoga pants.
You'd be that girl that is hard to have a conversation with, who never kind of looks outside her space. You're just
Well,
like.
that's how I am now, Doc.
Right, that's what I mean. But I feel like you know what? I'm done. I'm not even gonna
Go
there.
on.
Nothing.
Yeah, I would
What
just be a
about
Becky. I would be a Becky.
Bianca, what about you? If you were a
Already,
dude,
look at my haircut. Yeah, Bianca, what would you do?
Shout out to my mom for bringing me coffee.
yeah, shout out to Mom Dukes.
Angel.
I think I'd probably be like kind of like my husband. I like the way he dresses. I would, he's such an elitist in the way that he dresses. He's like down to the boxers polo. Like,
Yo, your husband is the blackest white. Oh my god.
Always the fresh sneakers, and I like a nice, comfy yet thoughtful look. Like I'm wearing gray sweatpants, but they're like a nice fitting gray sweatpants and like a nice like crew neck sweater. You know what I mean? My hair is nice and kept. I've got a beard. I thank God both of you have beards. If you are barefaced and you're 30, I cannot even look at you.
Well, you can't trust them. You're like, oh, I don't know, girl. Man.
I certainly can't be attracted. You look like a baby.
Can I say that, not to make it inappropriate, but I feel the same way about a girl with a shaved hoo-ha. I am like.
Okay, so inappropriate then.
Huh?
You said not to be inappropriate, but okay.
It just reminded me. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go.
We like beards on this podcast. Is what we're trying to say. Beards.
I was. That just reminded me of that you like facial hair with a grown ass man. And I'm just saying I prefer some lower facial hair when it comes to my grown ass woman. You know, like I'm saying, we're grown. Like when we get to a certain point, right, we start producing hair, and I feel like hair in certain areas are good. Just like if I'm a male growing.
It's natural for an adult to have that. Sure.
I don't really discriminate, ladies. Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want.
Just go for it.
I'm just saying what I prefer. I'm not saying I'm gonna turn down. Like if a girl comes bare, I'm gonna be like,
we knew that. We knew that.
I feel like a week. Give me a couple of days, and I'll be back in there. Like I ain't about
be
that.
A 5 o'clock shadow or something.
Right? Like that's not what I'm saying. I was just saying. Bianca was saying what she preferred, and I was just saying what I preferred. It's not a demand. I never demand anything from anybody. That's when you lose. Never demand.
Okay.
Merely, oh God, everyone's getting. I didn't know this was. Wow. Next week's topic is going to be about sex. If this is the way if this is how uncomfortable we are about this.
I am not uncomfortable. If we were just talking ourselves, not uncomfortable.
I hear you.
So responsible.
I get it. I hear you. All right, we're gonna head into the convince me portion of the show, guys. So Bianca is gonna be the judge. Jake and I, we're gonna try to convince Bianca of these 3 things. Well, one of us is gonna try to convince her. The other is gonna try to convince her that it's not a thing that she wants. Jake, I don't remember. You know me. Every week, I'm like, I don't know. Are you for or against?
I'll be against this time. I'm feeling negative today.
Feeling negative. All right, I'll be positive. The first thing we're gonna get into is 7-Eleven pizza. I was just thinking about it back in my poorer days. Not that I'm still poor as hell. I remember those struggle meals going to 7-Eleven, and I tried the pizza, and it's surprisingly good. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to convince Bianca why she should. Every once in a while, maybe buy a 7-Eleven pizza, and Jake is gonna convince her otherwise. So I'll start first. Bianca, there is nothing wrong with let's say a really busy day. You know, you're coming home. You don't want to order anything, right? You don't want to go home and cook something. There's nothing like stopping off at 7-Eleven, grabbing a nice big pizza. It's literally a large pizza for $7, and it's quality. Now it's not, I don't know, one of those like expensive $15 pizza, but it's so worth that $7, man. It is exactly what you expect from a $7 pizza. It's not going to give you any belly aches. It's just going to be just right, and there's nothing wrong with that. I say if you have $7 on one of those struggle days, Bianca, you should probably get yourself a 7-Eleven pizza.
All right, we were just talking about cultural appropriation, and as an Italian, I am disgusted by Cleon's blatant disrespect to my cultural traditions. 7-Eleven pizza, I had it when I was drunk. I am not proud of that. It is an abomination on pizza. And I would know I wouldn't get a beef patty from 7-Eleven because I got that one by accident once too. It was fucking gross. You live in Rhode Island, you can get $1 slice that's pretty good. Hit Antonio's, come on now. 7-Eleven.
But it's not It's not a whole pizza though. It's like a slice. What if you want more
Life
than a
is too
slice?
short for 7-Eleven pizza.
I'm just saying, you want more than a slice. You want to get your belly a little full.
What do you get a beef patty at 7-Eleven plant?
No, but I'm Jamaican.
I rest my case.
Well, Cleon, you were convincing. However, there is no way in hell I will eat 7-Eleven pizza. There's so many great pizza places in Providence. I would settle for just a slice if that's all I could afford.
Really? All right. I hear you. Mind you, I did it in Rhode Island. I was gonna blame it on California, but
Nope,
I mean, you're in California, maybe you gotta get some 7-Eleven pizza. You know?
Yeah. California probably doesn't have great pizza, but Providence, we have great pizza.
All right. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about, so the cast of UPN, the television show Girlfriends, the series is going to be on Netflix. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to try to convince Bianca why she should tune in and watch Girlfriends, and Jake over there is going to convince her why she shouldn't. So you start first, Jake. Bianca watch Girlfriends.
Are you gonna convince her why she should watch Girlfriends?
I went first last time.
Oh, why you show? Okay, I see. So here's the thing: reboots are never fucking good. What they did is they
not a reboot.
Whatever they found they're gonna use the same cast just a bunch of years later.
They're just putting it on Netflix. It's just gonna be available on Netflix.
All the old seasons.
Oh, old seasons. Well, did you like Girlfriends to begin with, Bianca?
Well, I did and I didn't. My mom watched it nonstop, and so it was like kind of annoying, but also I liked it.
So this is gonna shock everybody, given my demographic, my white maleness, but I have never watched an episode of Girlfriends. So
Can't trust him.
Yeah, but I heard it was a good show. A lot of women I dated have really liked it. So yeah, I don't know.
You're supposed to be. You're doing my job. Thank you very much.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Women I dated obviously had terrible taste. I mean, they ended up. So yeah, fuck that show. Don't watch it.
No, Jake made my point. As you can see, even black women who date Jake like Girlfriends. So it's a show that all kinds of black people like, and I'm sure, Bianca, that you would enjoy it once more. Think about it. Bianca, you saw it when you were a child, right? You had a childish brain. You couldn't understand all the adult jokes, all the nuance. Now, Bianca, as an adult, you can even embrace all those jokes that you weren't able to embrace back when you were a child. You can understand some of that sexual humor, some of that dating humor that you weren't able to enjoy when you were a child. So, like Jake said, all his girlfriends like it. A lot of women like it. Tons of minority women like it. I'm sure it's going to speak to you. So you should definitely tune in to Girlfriends on Netflix.
Yeah, no, that's a clear win. Obviously, I'm going to watch Girlfriends. First of all, let me say that I'm almost done with Moesha. And Cleon is absolutely right that, you start to understand things a little different. And Moesha was a teenager in the show, and I watched it when I was not a teenager. I was younger than that. But she wasn't too far off, but Girlfriends was definitely kind of like far off from my age group. And so now I look forward to understanding more of what they were going through. But now I'm looking back at Moesha, I'm like, man, she was such a brat.
Was she? I need to watch it.
So annoying on that show. Like, her dad bought her a car in one of the episodes. You remember the car company Saturn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, who? I don't even know anybody who's ever who drives a Saturn anymore, if they even exist. But in the show, her dad owns a Saturn dealership or whatever, or works there at least. And for her 16th birthday, he brought her home like a red convertible, brand new Saturn. And it was really nice looking, but it was a Saturn. And she was like, I don't want this, Daddy. I wanted a Jeep. And she literally makes him take it back.
Oh, hell no.
Drive it.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. Exactly.
I bet you with my teenage brain, I would have been like, oh, hell yeah, that's what you do. You don't want it, you give it back. As an adult,
Push him for a Jeep. You deserve a Jeep.
You deserve a Jeep, babe.
You should get a Jeep. Yeah.
And now I'm like, how dare she? What? She doesn't know how hard her father worked for that. It's so weird.
What a brat. I would take that car right now.
For real. Give me a Saturn.
Yeah, I love a Saturn, dog.
Saturn.
All right, the last thing that we have for you guys, it has to do with Blizzard candles, guys. So the they're gonna make Blizzard scented candles. Do you know what that means? Ice cream scented candles.
From the ice cream.
From pumpkin spice to Oreo, mocha fudge, all that. They're brown, all the flavors they're gonna make into candles. So I'm gonna try to convince Bianca why she should buy these candles, and Jake is gonna convince her why she shouldn't buy these scented candles. So so Jake went first last time, I'm gonna go this time. So Bianca, yeah. So they're selling these flavored candles that smell like ice cream, Bianca. I say, of course, it's something that you want in your house. Like, why wouldn't you want your house to smell like ice cream on a daily basis? Like, who doesn't want to, especially now that you're gonna go back to work after a long day of having your mask on, come home to a house just that smells like an ice cream scoop, like maybe pumpkin spice, or if you don't like pumpkin spice, Oreo or fudge or some cookie dough. There's nothing wrong with that, Bianca. And I'm sure that your husband would enjoy it and your child would enjoy that kind of scent. And then, Bianca, now your child gets older and let's say one day they're eating Oreo. Next thing you know, they connected with the moment with you coming home. You see, because that's how it works. Sometimes scent connects us with different memories. So this is a great way to preserve a memory, and it's a great way to make your house smell good.
Bianca, you know what I love doing after a hard day at work? I love coming home, have someone take one of my favorite meals, wave it in my face so I can smell it and get all hungry, and then just throw it in the trash. And no food for you. What you are doing by buying a fucking like coffee scented candle, a pumpkin spice, a Blizzard, is basically paying a company to do that for you. Wave some Blizzard flavor in your face, get you all hungry, get you ready to chow down on a Blizzard, and then yeet it into the toilet. Don't do it. It's obvious. I hate scented candles. Food. I hate walking into a house and being like, "Oh shit, you just made some pumpkin pie for me?" And then have Shorty like pull up the candle. I'm like, "Can I eat wax, girl?" No. Stick to like pine. I love a good forest scented candle. A good old school, some frankincense and myrrh. Stay the fuck away from that pumpkin. God.
Thank you. Wow, you actually both might have tied on there. Like, I want the candle to experience it, but then I'm gonna yeet it into the trash afterwards. And also, I'm not a huge fan of like sweet smells like that in the house all the time. Like, I like a laundry smell, you know. Right. In the house, like I like a nice what do they call those? Linen. They always got the damn candles called fresh linen or something.
Love
it's like
linen. I'm a big fan of linen.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Jake here.
Damn it!
I like play on what you had said about, you know, the scent being something that's going to remind Oliver of me, and that was cute, but it didn't do it.
No.
All right. Trying to pull on the heartstrings.
Well, candles are probably toxic. I've heard like a lot of people talking about like fragrances actually being like carcinogenic and everything,
and I actually agree with Jake, to be honest. Like, I don't like if my house is gonna smell like cookie, I want to eat some cookie.
100%, yeah.
I don't want just like people are buying like scents that smell like bacon. Like, why do you want your house smelling like bacon, or like, no? Fuck
right.
That sounds like torture. That sounds like a way, if I wanted to get information out of someone, I'd starve them and just put a bacon.
Yes, that's so.
Like,
that is a genius way. That is a very genius way to torture someone. Just starve them and then burn like a candle that smells like cake, or, oh, that's fucked. That's so fucked.
All right, guys, I need to take like a 30-second break. I've drank like mad water and coffee. I have to pee so bad.
I have to pee too.
We're in the last segment, but go ahead.
I try to hold it, but it's just not possible.
All right.
I'll be right back. Okay.
Thanks for I like the pacing today. I'm gonna make it out of here by 2. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been, I'm trying to.
I appreciate it, dude. Yeah, I'm going almost up to Vermont, so.
Ooh, that's a trip, bro.
Yeah.
All right, we just have one. We just have the last segment, and then we're pretty much done. Are you ready, B?
God damn it! I just drew something.
Achilles heel.
Last week I was looking at the thing. I'm like, oh my god, I look like an idiot.
When you.
All right, I'm good.
It makes you more relatable. It's okay.
There goes the fat bitch eating again.
Oh my God, Bianca.
I
All
don't
right,
say-
you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna head into the last segment of the show, and it's entitled Bianca, birds are like really cool. So every week, guys, we try to convince Bianca that birds are okay creatures, that they deserve to be on this planet. Bianca does not like them. She's not allergic or anything to them. She just doesn't like them. It's kind of like when a Trump supporter sees a black human just living its everyday life. The black human isn't doing anything to the Trump supporter, but for some reason, the Trump supporter just, there's something about that black person he just doesn't like. That's how Bianca feels about birds.
Leon, when one bird moves into your neighborhood, that's not the end. They bring their family.
Right, their whole flock.
Birds, they flock. They flock.
I get it. I totally, yeah, you're absolutely right. So this week, Bianca, we're going to talk about the pigeons. We're going to talk about the pigeons. So several studies have looked at whether pigeons can differentiate between distinct visual stimuli found in paintings. In one study, the birds were presented with good and bad children's art, and they were given positive reinforcement when they picked out the good art. Yeah, they were given bad art, bad children's art, and good art. And when they picked out what we thought was the good art, they would then get, they would get a treat.
If the pigeon was actually a good thinker, a nice guy, you would think all the children's art was good.
But it's it's training the birds to recognize what is good or bad, just like we all do. And Bianca, I know you're a teacher and you want to be PC, but we all can recognize when some art is good and when some art is bad. That's part of us, and that's how we can tell we are sane and conscious when we're able to do that. So this is actually a positive thing, that the bird can differentiate between what we perceive as good and bad art. Now, the bird can even do even more. They can differentiate between what is the two artists? Between Monet. Shoot. I think it's between Monet and someone else. I didn't put it down there, but they can differentiate between two different artists, which just shows that they're very smart and intelligent. Just to attack your thing about bird brain that you said, I don't know, it was last week or a couple of weeks ago. This is more evidence that birds are actually really smart. They're comprehensive thinkers. They think a little bit more deeper than we thought previously. So how could you hate a creature that has this level of thought, this genius, if I do say so? I would find it very hard. It's like your dog. You love your dog because your dog is smart, right? You think it has emotions. You connect emotions with it. How can you not connect emotions with a creature that can tell the difference between good and bad art?
First of all, I wish these birds would stop appropriating our human art. I just want to come
back. But let me be clear here. This might help you with your future arguments or not. I think my dog is adorable. My dog is so cute. Look at him. He's just laying over there in a little ball. He's fluffy. Birds are disgusting looking. Them being smart, which they're not, I don't think, but them being smart in their little ways that you say they are is doesn't help me at whatsoever.
Have you ever looked at a pigeon's feather? They have like a rainbow sheen over them. Depending on the angle that you look at them, it's different color.
And so don't blowflies, but they're still disgusting.
Okay. All right, I'll be back next week with more facts.
Try to show me a cute bird. Show me a cute bird.
Once I got really stoned and I killed a fly and I looked at it and I was like, actually, that's a beautiful creature. And I sobered up.
I don't know why you would compare a fly to a bird, but fine. It's okay, Bianca. I think I will. Next week I'll come with a beautiful bird and I will show you what a beautiful bird looks like. So I guess I didn't do my job this week, but I'll be back. Don't you forget that. All right. Well, that has been a show. Thank you guys very much, everyone who tuned in. We're still trying to grow our page, so please like, subscribe, tell a friend, share. We're trying to get better every week. I am, and I know the rest of these guys are. So we're every week we're going to try to improve this show and get better. So please like our page, subscribe. We're just humble YouTubers out here. And remember, guys, that your opinion, it doesn't mean anything unless you have facts to back it up. This has been Coffee Milk.
It's only my opinion. Coffee Milk.